What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever.
PMC.
You got jokes. They stupid, Ron.
And we have Ayaba in the building today to talk about Santeria and
Lucumi. It's Lucumi, right?
Lucumi.
Lucumi. Lucumi is can we say where you're from or no?
Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban, and I was initiated in a Lucumi house out of Bed-Stuy, a famous Lucumi house out of Bed-Stuy under Mama Stephanie Weaver, aka the House of Ile Ashe. So it's a very famous house that started in, I believe, the 60s. Actually, some of its original founders were here like in the 50s, and so the house is like huge now. People are all over the world actually, and we have some really well-known people who are, you know, in the entertainment, medical fields, education field. So, you know, pretty much all the members are like thriving right now.
Wow. Okay.
Peace.
That's interesting.
Maferi fun Orisha, maferi fun Egun. It's all thanks to the spirits. All praise are due to Oludomare.
Okay. Now, I want to go into the questions, Mike. I have my own questions. However, we have questions set. So what's the origin of Lucumi?
It's out of West Africa, and so it made its way to the Caribbean, and it took on, I guess, slightly different faces on each one of the islands. And so out of Cuba, it's Lucumi. And so, you know, the main tenets of the tradition are the Orishas, honoring the Orishas, and honoring Egun, the ancestors, the muertos, which are the dead, okay, the ancestral dead. And you know, it varies slightly from Santeria in that Santeria is cloaked. The African spirits are cloaked in Christian, you know, they're cloaked behind the Christian saints.
You do the slavery.
Yes, and so, you know, out of fear of being found out, you know, the people were able to practice behind closed doors. To a certain extent. And so, but, you know, in my line of Lucumi, in my Ocha house, we don't cover up any of the Orishas with saints. I mean, the saints are who they are. I mean, the Orishas are who they are. So that would be Alegba, that would be Ogun, that would be Ochosi, that'll be Shango, that'll be Oya, that'll be Oshun, that'll be Yamaya, you know, and the list goes on.
Down to the core of it before.
Down to the core.
Okay, I have a question about it. So these spirits, if you will, entities, are they governed by particular planets? You know, what's the concept behind these spirits?
I mean, if you want to like liken it to astrology, I'm sure some people have, but like, you know, for many of the Lucumi practitioners, like they are like masculine and feminine aspects of the divine. Okay. Mm-hmm. That divine being we call Olofio Lurumari. And so they're divine, they're aspects of the divine that are found in nature, both masculine and feminine aspects. And so this is how we can connect to the divine by like going to the river to, you know, give honor to the feminine aspect of the divine named Oshun. We go to the ocean to give, you know, respect to the feminine aspect of the ocean, at least the top of the ocean, the surface of the ocean, which is Yamaya. And then there's Olokun, which is in the depths of the ocean. And then there's Oya, the wind, the lightning, the storms, and Shango, the lightning, the storms, you know, thunder, Ogun, who governs Ogun and Alegba and Ochosi, who are the warriors found in the woods. And so we go to these different aspects and we connect with the divine through, prayers, through songs and things of that nature, through offerings.
Okay.
deep.
So now, see, that was a great explanation, because so now I have a better understanding of what's referred to as spirit. So it's not necessarily a floating ghost energy kind of thing. It's more
No.
of like, it's more of like, the energy within the sea, the energy within the, just the energies around us in general, the trees, yeah,
Yes.
okay,
Well,
okay.
elements.
The
It's dealing
energy is
with
huge. Like, the divine is in everything. And it's just how people and the practitioners connect to the divine. And so, your prayers get heard regardless. You know what I'm saying? But, it's definitely, it's a relationship that has to be, you have to build on this relationship. Sorry, hold on just a second. I don't know how my TV magically turned on. So I guess the spirits are in the house right now.
I wanted to double back what she said earlier. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to double back what she said earlier with the whole synchronism with the Catholic saints, because in voodoo is practiced on the island. It's universal but regional, based upon the regions. Some people use the Catholic saints, some don't use the Catholic saints. They use the sigils as what we call the veves instead of
Yes.
using the Catholic saints. So that's what is leukemia is kind of that. It's kind of is it like that in that
No, we
aspect?
use the firma. So I'm also initiated as a yi, however you want to call it,
Follow.
in Palo. And so in Palo we use the firmas to connect with the Palo energies.
Yeah, so that's when we mentioned the whole leukemia practice. I'm like, yeah, some people don't use the Catholic saints; they just go straight directly into the sigils. And when you said answering to Ron's question about dealing with the spirits, right? It's
Mhm.
mostly just dealing with the four elements. That's all it is. You're using everything within the universe.
Yeah, I mean it's so much bigger than that, but like if
Yeah,
that's
I can
how
tell.
people can visualize it,
Right?
yeah, and so always people have to like it helps for people to kind of understand these humongous concepts by
Yeah.
like placing them in a particular like bucket or whatever. And so I
Mhm.
don't like to like minimize the energies, but it's just like organizing these vast concepts, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and trying to understand what they are and how to connect to them.
Mhm.
I've been a priestess for 11 years now, but I've been practicing since 2000. And even as an aleo, which is someone that has not been initiated to the highest extent.
Mhm.
My Ocha house, the spiritual house that I was in, the Orisha house that I was in, was a Ocha house of teaching. And so they wanted us to be self-sufficient. They were training us to be able to, one day have our own Ocha houses, our own what we call elays.
Mhm.
And so, there's so many aspects to it because we all come from, different lineages. So it's like, yes, we acknowledge and honor the Orishas, we honor the ancestors, but, you know, the ancestors could be from Haiti. The ancestors could be from, different parts of West Africa. They could be from, Trinidad, wherever they are. And so,
Mhm.
the there our practice in honoring the ancestors and different offerings may vary slightly. So like in Jamaica, they call the tradition that's similar to this, they call it kumana. People always think it's obia, which is has a bad rap because it always has to do with like witchcraft and this and
Yeah.
that. But like before obia was a place where people would get healing. Like they had to protect their crops. They wanted to have children, if they wanted to you know um bring money into the household. And so it wasn't always someone you know throwing something at someone. It wasn't like brujeria, witchcraft.
No,
You know?
no. Mm-mm.
It's just gotten a bad rap because it got in the hands of people who abused power.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's based on the intention. It's based on the intentions.
Okay, I
Exactly.
have a question. I have a question now. Um, you don't want to put this the I want to say spirits, for lack of a better term. You don't want to put the spirit, so to speak, in a box, right? But I want to give more context to what it is actually, right? So the divine, right? The divine has many aspects of itself, as you mentioned, right? But the main is the polarity between feminine and masculine energies.
Yes.
Now, in the seas, the waters, the just the main elements, right? The four to
Mhm.
five elements. One of the elements being ether, right? So this divine is within these four or five elements, and broken down into bits, right? And finer bits. So I don't know, like if can speak on dimensions and things of that nature, if possible. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, I mean that I can't speak fluently on that. There's so many dimensions when you go into that realm, as far as like we're here on the earthly plane, but then there's a spiritual plane, and then there's so many dimensions within that spiritual plane. And so that's a really like deep and rich process of study. You know what I'm saying? And I can't necessarily go there. But my practice and what I do, I do, I read people privately. But I also work at Namaste Bookstore in the city in Union Square. And so, I connect with spirit through the cards, through them talking to me, because I am a spiritualist, I am a passing medium. And so, I haven't begun to really go into that realm of multiple dimensions. I mean, because it's just enough to handle the energy as it is. Just being I'm a priestess, I'm a daughter of Oya, which there's not many people out here who are initiated to Oya, which is the feminine, fierce aspect um, of nature, that rules over the winds and the storms. And, as a female warrior, is depicted as a female warrior who rules over the marketplace, who rules over the dead, who receives the dead into the cemetery. And so, just managing that energy, being initiated to that energy, and being connected to the spirit realm and that way is a lot. So I haven't gotten to that point where I'm going to venture into the next dimensions. I mean, it's a process. Like,
Mhm.
in my tradition, I'm considered a young priest, even though I have over 10 years of Ocha, 10 years of initiation in a house that was a serious teaching house, literally blood, sweat, and tears to learn what I learned. So that I could be able to help other people. But um yeah, like it's amazing how you're able to connect with spirit through meditation. And I
Mhm.
incorporate Hinduism as well, the mantras, meditation to unlock other aspects of myself.
Vibration.
Yes,
Right.
and
So
spiritual court.
right. So I would say this is just me. This is just my hypothesis.
Mm.
I'm gonna say that the Orishas and the names of the spirits within the culture would kind of guide you and lead you to what's considered the dimensions themselves.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Like they all have, fierce aspects, and there's so many layers to it. We have, just like all the other traditions have a spiritual book, we have the book of Odu. And so there's over 200 Odu that speak about all of these masculine and feminine um, um, spirits, these Orishas, and stories about them when some of them were living, when they were alive on this planet, and some others, and how they were like deified. And And so how the world was created, how humans were created. And so, the stories are rich. And I really, I just don't like it when people refer to these stories as like folklore or myths. You know what I'm saying? Like, because to the practitioners, this is very real. They really, live these lives, and, the lessons that they learned were extensive. So, the tradition is so rich, and there's always going to be a balance between the masculine and the feminine aspects within the tradition.
Of course, of course.
Okay, so let's give some examples of what that looks like, right? So, like, balance of the masculine and feminine aspects. Can you give us an example?
I mean, sure. Like, I'm initiated to Oya, and her counterpart is Shango. Her masculine counterpart is Shango. And
Okay.
so Shango is the king. He's the king of Oyo. He's a master strategist. He has so many aspects to him, and he's also fierce. He's a very hot energy. I don't know, in Haitian voodoo they call it what, the Rada?
Oh no, Petro is
The
a hot.
Petros. It's like he's like, those energies are very hot. They're hot energies. So Oya is hot. Shango is hot. They're represented by red. Shango is red and white. Oya is red, but she's got 9 different colors. But red is like, it's like the pulse. The pulse of who they are. They're about living and life, the life force. They're about fierceness, ferocity. Just being vibrant. You know what I'm saying?
What I wanted to add to what Ayaba is saying is, within the African science, spiritual practices, every spirit, like in voodoo, they call it escorts. Like, they always polarities. It's never alone.
Oh, okay.
You gotta have the balance. Gotta have the feminine aspect and the
Sure.
masculine aspect, and it's never just one alone. Like when it breaks down from the all being God, right, and it comes down to polarities. Each has their attributes, but it's always balanced out the universe, what they represent. So
there's like a coolness. Like there's a coolness. There's a hot, and there's a cool. There's the heat, and then there's the cool. So Obatala, Yamaya, Oshun, Yamaya and Oshun are the water energies. Obatala he's the father of the white cloth. He's the father of the world. He's the maker of everyone's head before they, came down to this earth, before they were born. And then there's, you have Ogun, Alegba, Ochosi, who are the hunters. And so, those energies, they can be hot and they can be cool. You want to keep them nice and cool and calm and collected until you have to go to war, with someone. And that's not something you want to do. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. And so, there is like this hot, cold, this coolness. And like in my tradition, reading the energies, reading the Odu and how they fall, and I'm still learning. I don't claim to know everything. Certainly not. But like, there's a certain heat to the letters, the numbers, the energies that come out when someone is getting a reading with the shells, the caracoles, the dilagun. Okay. And so, when there's a spiritual heat there, that is not really good. You want to keep the energies cool.
All right. So you already answered one of the questions I'm going to ask. I was going to ask, what is the significance of initiations in Lucumi?
I mean, it's really for like, personal development. And it's also carrying on, what your ancestral line, the energy that you walk with, like honoring your ancestors, you having people that came before you that practiced in the tradition or practiced in something that was like it. And so, you may get initiated as, a santera, a santero, a santero. But, maybe your ancestral line was out of, Haiti. And so, if you want to get initiated as a mambo or the mambo or hugan, you can get initiated in that as well, as long as there are no like taboos or conflicts, and as long as the spirits are appeased. You know what I'm saying? But it's really about, personal growth and development and elevation
Exactly.
so that you can fulfill your destiny in the most positive, successful way possible, with the best character, Iwapele, that you can possibly, demonstrate on this planet.
Mm. Brother, terrain. What's up, Awareness Daily in the building? Of course, that's the brother. He's always, supporting the podcast. That's peace. We also have a Colt College Terrain Hicks in the building.
Alafia say peace, family. Alafia.
Peace, family, Alafia.
Alafia,
Yeah, that's one.
Santo.
That's one of their sayings. And Awareness Daily said ain't soft. You see, Awareness Daily is on his Kabbalah talk. I rocks with that because it's how we praise God and we go down to the deities, and it's similar to the Kabbalistic tree where we go from the top ain't soft, as they pull it nothingness. We can't tell. We just keep on ascending. And the
Yes.
10 spheres, the Sephiroth, represents the aspect of what each represents on both sides. You got the pillar of mercy and severity. And in between, you got Malkut, which, that's the path you walk straight. That's a whole nother topic right
No,
there.
that's deep. And look, like there's so many amazing people out here who are like the historians to these different traditions. Like Baba John Mason, like he is like the premier authority in my tradition anyway, in Lucumi. And then there's a brother Oba de Dayo. And so, Oba, he's a child of Shango, and he's like amazing out of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn as well. So like these are definitely people who can really speak to the history, the rich history of the traditions. But yeah, like, I mean, it's great that, so much about like, am I saying it right? Voodoo?
Voodoo, yeah.
Yeah.
No
I
matter.
don't want to say voodoo, but like voodoo.
Voodoo, yeah, voodoo.
Yeah.
Voodoo. That's
Voodoo.
Benin. Voodoo
Yes.
is Benin, but voodoo is Creole. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's dope. You got a question, Ron?
Yeah, so I want to kind of like, because I'm a science head, right? So I try to break down the finer details of things to try to give people a clear picture of what things truly are.
Come to an event, brother. You got to come to a ceremony, man. One of these, you got to attend a ceremony to see things that the human body.
I have. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen things. I've been to ceremonies before and things like that, but being that I'm coming from more of a scientific aspect, scientific mindset, I like to break things down to the finer details of things. So, like, if we were talking about spirits, right? How many spirits are there? I mean, there are tons of, like, a lot of spirits, right? There's like hundreds of spirits, but what are the main spirits, right? Shango, we spoke about. Okay, so instead of spirits, Orishas.
We call them the fundamentals. So usually when people get initiated, well, when you enter into the tradition and you've received your alekis, or aka your collares, your beads, and you've gone through that initial process, people generally receive Elegba, Ogun, and Ochosi. Okay, those are the Orishas that you receive in the beginning, and that is just at the entry level.
Okay, now let me ask you this. So those three.
Those are the warriors, the guerreros.
And those are all masculine.
Masculine, yes.
Okay.
And so then from there, through your readings, you go to get the readings with the shells, the caracoles, the D lagoon. Then, you may have to get Olokun, which Olokun, is found at the depths of the ocean and also rules over emotions and, the depth of your soul. And so you may have to receive a Olokun, which is a water energy, a water Orisha. And so then you may get a reading and you may have to receive the Himaguas, the Ibejis, okay, the twins. Okay. And so, and that's for stability, that's for money, wealth, good luck, and things of that nature. So, people could just receive the warriors and then move to become initiated as a high priestess, as a santero or santera, and then you receive your fundamental. And so your fundamental, like you said, is Shango. Yes, It's Oya, not Oya, and not everyone receives Oya. You get Yamaya, Oshun, Obatala.
Mm,
All right.
that's
So,
great.
as far as levels are concerned, the first level that you get the three masculine spirits, if you will, right, for lack of a better term, and then after that, there's a second level before getting to become a santero.
Yeah, Santero or Santera. And not everyone, has that destiny to become a Santero or Santera. You know what I'm saying? You could just stop at just, having your Lekis, being a Leo, going to, different events, working different events to the capacity in which you are able to, which you are permitted. And some people may never ascend to become a priest, a priest. And
Yeah.
so it just depends. But some people have to be, they have to get initiated at the highest level, sometimes to save their life, sometimes, from sickness, from
Hmm.
to be saved from the streets. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different reasons why someone would need to be initiated at the highest level to extend their life.
Mm.
Okay. And so not everyone, everyone's destiny, everyone's path is different.
Now, I don't know
Yeah.
if you know anything about a guy by the name of Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza talks about, you know, just shedding your old self to then rise up into a new self to basically draw in better energy to yourself, right? So I don't know if you guys deal with the same concept of energy work, if you will. Uh
It is a renewal. When every time at every level there's a renewal. So when you have your initial your first initiations, to receive your alekes, your collares, and your warriors, there is your there's somewhat of a renewal there. I can't give up the details, but then when you get initiated at the highest level as a santero or santera, a priest, it's a rebirth, it's a renewal. And so there's certain things that happen then. You have to, in my line, we have to wear white for a year and 7 days. You know what I'm saying? And for the first 3 months, we're not able to watch TV. We're not able to, do things that are too stimulating. We're supposed to, really be in deep meditation and introspection through that time. We're not supposed to be hanging out. For the women, there's no makeup. We can't wear makeup.
Hmm.
We have to stay in white for that year and 7 days, and no one can touch us. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of our children and, the person that, our lover, our husband or wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's really about living like super, super, super clean as best as you can for that year and 7 days,
Yeah.
to be your best self. But then you come out of that year, you come out of your initiation year, and you're back in the world per se. And like, it's like you either become,
Evolved.
yeah, you should become evolved, or you can become even worse than who you were. So if you
Exactly.
were wicked and nasty, you could become even more wicked. And it doesn't have anything to do with the Orisha. It has to do with egos and the head.
I was about to say that too, stripping of the ego, because
Yeah,
a
I
lot
mean,
of
we
these
strip
spiritual
to the
practices.
ego for the year, but then people's heads get real gassed up, and then that becomes a mess.
Yeah.
well, what I'm trying to do is bridge the gap between uh Western teachings and Eastern teachings, meaning science and what you want to call spiritualism, quote unquote, bridging the gap there and the gap in between the schools of thought, i.e., 5% Nation, NOI, more science, etc. There's a gap between the two, but they talk about the same thing essentially, and they come together. They can
It's
come
good.
if you could connect the dots between the two, between the teachings. You could I could see the dots to connect. So yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I said, I'll say it's due to language and perspective based on the each individual's intentions and understanding. You understand? Because you will get it. You connect. You make the connection of the dots. But some are so rigid and are stuck in a zealot in the mode of being zealots. They don't want to accept anything else. Because from what she said for her experience, I went through that with the whole being introduced to voodoo. Yes, I seen it growing up, but I used to be like, nah, this and that, until I hit age 21 and I started seeing it more happening to me. Certain things happening to me I couldn't explain, dreams and events. I had to go out there and go look for it, look for the answers.
And
And
there's no way to measure it, right? Like, there's no way. Like, I'm a science teacher. I teach high school chemistry and biology. So, I mean, if anyone, like, in the classroom, I have to come with a scientific perspective, but I'm also Caribbean. So, and I've had experiences, and many of my students have had experiences that they can't explain. So that's really, it's tough. I mean, you can measure things as best as you can, but you'll never measure everything.
Okay. So, because, all right, as far as like science and the Western perspective of science, measurement, empirical evidence, et cetera, they have a system in which they find what they consider the facts or the truth, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm saying is, in other schools of thought, they have their system, right? NOI, Nation of Gods and Earths, blah, 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 and all these different schools of thought. And what I'm saying is, between that school of thought, Vodun, and Western science, there's a gap, but there's a bridge between those that we can find, that we can figure out. But it just takes a person who's well versed in all the sciences.
I think the first step of the bridge ever happened in between all with the Western hemisphere science and other practices is stripping of the ego, because you got to go to a place of nothingness. You gotta strip yourself. Yeah. Realize that it sounds harsh, but that you're nothing in this universe. I just happen to be here. Like, my life is a gift.
And that's why people do the shrooms. That's why they do ayahuasca. It's like, because it strips them down to nothingness, where they have no like power, no control. So the ego is not in effect at that point that they're tripping.
Yeah.
Well, what do you consider the ego?
A false arrogance, a person that thinks they're above. There's a difference between being confident.
Bravado, yeah.
A big difference between being confident and arrogant, pompous, putting down others, and seeing yourself as bigger than life. Like, my life matters above all you. You're nothing in my world.
Okay. That's so. What about you, Ayaba? How do you see the ego?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, when people acquire a certain status, like you said, it's like you feel like you're above everyone and everything. And sometimes, unfortunately, people get initiated in these different traditions as a mambo, hugan, santera, whatever, a palero, whatever it is they get initiated in. And they think that they can, be throwing stuff at people, be nasty to people. And that's not what the traditions are about. It's about elevation. It's about helping you to make it in this world, in this earthly existence, which can sometimes be hell on earth. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with, people who are walking, but they're possessed with demons and dark spirits. And it can be a battle. And you not only have to battle with people in the physical plane, you got to battle with people, with things, entities in the spiritual plane.
Spiritual plane as well.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you about that. So the spiritual plane, demons, etc. Is there any way, if you can't, it's cool. Is there any way you can show and prove that demons and these different spirits exist?
Look, I mean, I don't know about anyone. I was raised in the Catholic Church, downtown Brooklyn, St. James Basilica. The nuns were my mothers. The priests were, like fathers to me. You know what I'm saying? And so I have witnessed things throughout my life. I've seen spirits. I've seen, I've actually felt dark energies attack me, lift me up out of the bed. You know what I'm saying? And no one was around to see it, but I know it happened. And that's in part what led me to the tradition, and then I've sat in spiritual meetings and spiritual masses, and I've seen people become mounted with dark spirits. You know what I'm saying? And like speaking, and not necessarily speaking in different languages, but like, there's a darkness there. You can tell when there's the spirit of the light and when there's the spirit of the dark. And you can just feel it. You know what I'm saying? The dark spirits, they don't like light. They don't like to be revealed and uncovered. And I've given readings to people where, I started like coughing, choking, this, and that, because the spirit did not want me to reveal who they were and what they were doing. They did not like the fact that I was uncovering and exposing their darkness to the person that came to me to get help.
Okay. Now, I'm one thing I am is I'm a skeptic about everything. However, I don't disregard what people experience and things of that nature. I haven't experienced anything of the sort. However, I've experienced some things though. But as far as I've experienced like supernatural things between human to human.
Okay.
Yeah. But I haven't experienced anything where, like how you experience.
Well, I mean, people get like, people's exposure when you drink, they always call the alcohol the spirit. So, drinking can lower your vibration. Doing certain drugs can lower your vibration, and it can leave you open and susceptible to being mounted with dark spirits that are roaming the planet, roaming the earth, with dark spirits that people are throwing at you, trying to sabotage and affect your spiritual, outcomes. And so, you'll see that. You'll see, like, for out of nowhere, your loved one will start attacking you, or will start acting funny, or, you'll have problems sleeping. You're tossing and turning. Fights will happen out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? There's cracks, there's leaks, there's all this phenomena, like this negative phenomena, this antagonistic phenomena that starts happening. And a spirit can attack you through mounting someone and moving through that person to attack you and seduce you, for that matter. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to be on the up and up, you're married, you're trying to be faithful to your wife or to your special person, there's people who get mounted. These spirits will come and try and seduce you and break you and bring you down to the depths of a hell-like experience, and destroy your relationship, destroy the plan and the goodness that you have set out for you. So it's real. It's real out here.
And there are other forms of quote unquote so-called witchcraft and supernatural things, like the power of words, the vibration of each word.
Yes.
Could change a person's mindset. Like you could attend a church service and you'll be moved by the music, the organ being played, the how the preacher is speaking, or you go to an African practice, or for instance, as they say within the 5% Nation or Nation of Islam, a brother could know his lesson so well and he's just moving through it. Not only is he quoting it, but he's delivering his perspective and how he's speaking, his tone, the pitch of his voice, the tone. There's a lot of ways you can move somebody.
And speaking in tongues, like, what is that? People, that's speaking in tongues. They're getting mounted by the spirit. You know what I'm saying? But it is different from when people get possessed by the Orisha or the Loa. You know what I'm saying? That's dark and that's bad. But like when people start speaking in tongues in the church, that's good and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many, I don't know. Like I guess it's like it's how the traditions are viewed. You know what I'm saying? In African traditions, African-based traditions a lot of times get a bad rap. But when people are in the church catching the Holy Ghost and talking in tongues, They're mounted with the spirit.
That came from indoctrination and colonialization.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand because like even like when you get baptized, right? That's like a ritual
It's a
itself.
ritual, yeah. Using the element
Yes.
of water and air. The words is air.
Yeah, communion, the piece of bread,
The
with the
flesh.
with the so-called blood,
Yeah.
which is grape juice.
Yeah, the grape Welch, I remember the Welch's cricket juice, man. I went back for second cup, right? When I was a kid. I used to go back for the second cup, like,
Yeah,
can
me
I get
too.
some more juice?
Let me get more of Jesus blood real quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, those are all rituals, and it's like, and where did these things come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where were they based? Out of where?
Of course, Africa.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of
Egypt, yeah,
course,
all that.
of
And it's
course.
interesting because, I know people who have taken pictures of people that do not have melanin
Mhm.
who go get initiated in Ifa in West Africa, in Nigeria, wherever they are. They get initiated because they want that power. And they bring it back to their political parties, to their skulls and bones, to all these little secret societies. And, they recognize the power in this.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But what she's saying is she's on point with that because the sister's on point with her readings. I experienced one of her readings, man.
Okay.
She was on point.
Oh, really?
On
Can I
point, bro.
read it right now?
On point.
Oh, no, you can't. You can't get a reading. You gotta do that in private, right? Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Well, you can come see me. I'm at 4 West 14th Street and Namaste Bookshop. I'm there Tuesdays and Fridays from 4 to 8. Definitely come through to see me. And then I also do private readings via video. I don't need you to be present. I call forth your ancestors, your spiritual court, your spiritual entourage, and they tell the whole story.
Get out, man. I want
You
to. I
ain't
want.
got to be there.
I want. I want
Authentic
to
Negro.
experience it. I want to experience it. I want to see. What this is about. Now, I want to go back into. I keep mispronouncing this. Sorry.
Lucumi?
Lucumi.
Luke.
Lucumi, yeah. Lucumi.
Lucumi. I've never heard of this. However, I've heard of the teachings. I've never heard the name Lucumi though. Now, where's the
Yeah.
name Lucumi come from? Is it African or is it?
Yes, it's out of Africa, and so I mean, over the many years, it changed to be adapted to the place and where it landed. So out of Cuba, so Cuba, you'll find that in a lot of the songs, the songs to Orisha, the songs to the ancestors, the Egun, the Muertos, you're gonna see you're gonna hear elements of the Yoruba language.
Wow.
Um,
Can I get a song right now? I'm about to get my daughter to pull this up.
Or
um, let's see for Oshun. Ite were were ite were were ite Oshun. Ite were were itaya. Ojakani ba ite Oshun. Cheke itaya. Ite were were ala ulele aea. So that's a song to Oshun, which is the feminine aspect of the divine, rules over rivers, love, sensuality, relationships, passion, that kind of thing.
Okay,
I
so
see.
Oshun. I'm gonna go Oshun songs, maybe.
Oshun, yes, Oshun, the Orisha Oshun songs.
Okay.
So I have a question. Can anyone practice Lucami, or is it exclusive to a certain group? I don't know. I'm off.
Nah, we have we got white people, black people, Chinese people, Indian people. We got people from all over.
Word. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, and there's in the rumor mill, there's like so many different celebrities that don't have melanin that have been initiated in the tradition.
Hmm.
And they do that for their own reasons, whatever that is, to protect what they got, whatever. But yeah, it's like it's not just designated to people with melanin.
I heard Jay-Z spit a few lines about
Sure. I mean, that
Santeria,
it's
Shango.
common knowledge. They even said that they were initiated. I don't know how true that is. Just what Yeah, I don't know that. I think that's more of like the the pure like West African one. The one that is like out of like Cuba that has the fusion. You're gonna look at probably the Andabo. Who are the other ones? Oh God, there's so many different groups. Group Abilona, Grupo Abilona. They do a lot of Orisha songs. Okay, and that's more of what where I practice out of. That's more of what I identify with. The other one that you played is more out of West Africa directly.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to say it's like a bastardization, but it's just like you heard that song. There's no drums
Yeah,
in Orisha, in
yeah, drum.
Lucumi. There's drums. You got to hear a drum, and you got to hear the shakere. You know what? If you
Yeah.
don't hear the drum of the shakere,
I
I
think
don't
I
want to
think he
say
got
they
one.
bastardized it, but they did something to it.
Yeah, he got one.
There we go. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just figured
that's
out
for
Mike can't
Legba.
dance.
What happened? Yeah, you can't. No, I could.
I just figured Mike. I just saw Mike. He can't dance.
I got the Florida water.
Oh, he's feeling it now. I see it.
Yeah,
And
no,
Lexi's
I
the
ain't
road
dancing yet.
opener.
I can't get up and dance run right now. Nah, you gotta.
Yeah, I love that music actually. Wow. Yeah, I want to hear
It
that.
tells a story. It tells a story.
That's something that I could wake up to.
No, that's the beautiful thing. Like you should, like you play it, like it, you know, it lifts your spirit. And it's supposed to make you move, you know what I'm saying? And when we're in when we go to drummings, bembes, you know, the parties, the drum parties and things like that, those songs, they tell a story and they speak to the Orisha and they pull the Orishas down onto the people. They activate the Orishas. And so people get mounted, you know, with the spirit through these songs. These songs are very powerful.
Mm. That's
Okay.
deep. That's deep.
All right, Mike, you want to go with the next question?
Yeah. Let me see. You already answered that, so I was gonna ask, what are some of the misconceptions about Lucumi? Am I saying correctly?
Lucumi.
Yeah. What are some of the misconceptions about it?
I mean, you know, the common one. Like my own family like disown me. On my father's side, like, oh, you know, you're a
Wow.
devil worshiper. You know, you do witchcraft, brujeria, this and that. And I'm like, are you serious? Like you're serious. You know what I'm saying? And but there's nothing that they can use to justify. My life is beautiful. It's not perfect, but it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fairly successful. My son is successful. Like there's nothing that you can say that says anything about witchcraft and brujeria and devil worship. There's no devil. You know, there's there's energy of the light and then there's dark energy. And it's a constant for everyone. It's a constant, it's a delicate balance between the light and the dark.
As above, so is below.
Ah, che.
But like you said, it's a delicate balance because right next to light, there's darkness.
Man, you need
And
one or the other to know what to make distinguish.
and that's what we struggle with on a day-to-day basis, every second of our lives.
Yeah, you just got to stay on the path, man. There's so many things that can pull you off. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you got to stay. You got to fulfill your destiny the best way you can. And you got to be able to recognize when some dark energy is trying to take you off your path. And they will move through people. People always think, oh, it's going to be a spirit, you know,
Right.
that comes to you in your dreams and this, and that. No, it moves through people to try and attack you.
Mm-hmm.
Even through sickness, we always, like in my tradition, we pray away all of those things. Sickness, which is ano, confusion, you know, araye, chaos, you know, all of these negative things, we pray that away because these things we are in constant exposure to these things.
Yeah.
And so we got to live the right way to keep those things away from us.
I'm on a path right now where I'm just like kind of like almost like a monk, where I'm like just kind of like everything's got to move out of the way, and I got to.
Cool.
You get what I'm saying?
It's a beautiful feeling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you told me that. You told me that a few weeks ago. You was like, you set boundaries. I'm like, I'm like, nah. I'm like, yeah, I do. I have to, because protect your sanity is important, bro.
Yeah.
Your sanity is very fragile. You don't know how fragile your sanity is. You could, any second you could lose it.
Yeah.
You're right.
You
You're
dodge.
definitely right.
You know how many court cases we dodge a day just going navigating through the world? A split second could cost you your freedom or your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You
And I
know?
would imagine for you guys as being, men of color, it's like, oh my God, like, I can't even imagine what you guys go through. You know what I'm saying? But I know it's tough for you guys. And I teach Black males. I teach Black and Latino males coming from Brooklyn, the Bronx, all over the city. Many of which are in gangs and all that. They're in the streets, they're hustling. They're trying to make their money, for a number of different reasons. But it's no joke out there.
The consequences that come with that, especially if you're going about it the way that's frowned upon by the law, it comes with consequences, man.
But at the same time that you live as a monk, Maferi Fun Shango. Shango is about living. Shango, when he was on this earth, he loved to party. He's the Orisha that, they always show him with red and white, the colors red and white. He likes
Loves
to
women.
party. Like what?
Loves women, I heard.
Loves
Crazy about
women. Like he loves to dress nice, smell good. He loves to drink. He loves sex. He loves food. He like all the indulgences that he could ever, engage in. That's what he was. But because he did that, he wants us to not do that, to not be extreme, but to live. You know what I'm saying? To live, but to make sure we do things in moderation so that we don't go overboard and we don't become slaves to these things and lose ourselves.
Yeah, well, what I mean by the monk thing, it was more like like a certain period of time. I need a certain period of time to like study and get deep within self, to then come out on the other side, better.
Yeah, definitely.
It's important it's very much important. Again, to protect your energy, your sanity, build the mind, construct the mind. Because once you build a mind, everything else follows, and it changes the environment around you, the people
for
around
sure.
you. Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
constant conflict. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to be in this earthly plane with all this stimulation, you got like social media, you got everything happening out in the world. And like for a person to be able to settle down and actually concentrate on studying something, to be able to actually meditate, without the phone going off, without this, without that, like, boy, that's a challenge. It's a challenge. Like I'm initiated and I know I got challenges. You know what I'm saying? Like try to live as best as I can the right way. But it's rough. It's really rough.
Well, I noticed that you have on yellow, and then your the way your house is painted yellow. What's the significance of those colors?
I'm
Of
a
that?
Fedi Fun Oshun. So as much as I'm a daughter of Oya, Oshun has guided me throughout my whole entire life, and she is with me. And Oshun is like about love and relationships and happiness and the finer things in life, beautiful music, beautiful fragrances, like, and so and femininity and I just and beauty, things that are beautiful both inside and out. And so, I just love that energy and I really like identify with Oshun and her colors, which yellow, gold, oranges, things of that nature. So,
What is that? What color is that? That color you have on there, is that blue?
right here.
Yeah.
Yes, this is blue. So Maferi Fun Yamaya. So Yamaya is the feminine energy that rules over the ocean. She's the mother of the world. She's the mother of all children. She's the mother of motherless children. She's the mother of wealth and abundance. And, women who want to have children, they often like, do work with Yamaya. And so Yamaya, she is like, she is my ace boon kun, you know what I'm saying? Because I had challenges with my mother coming up. And so Yamaya was my mother when my mother was not there. So Maferi Fun Yamaya. So, and they often call people that kind of gravitate towards the ocean, but also to the rivers. They often call them either sons or daughters of the two waters. So usually Oshun and Yamaya, they're sisters, they go together.
That's peace. That's peace.
Peace. That's peace. Any more questions, Mike?
That's pretty much it, man. She rocked it, man. Like the energy, man. I'm telling you, it's very, very chill.
That was
Oh,
easy.
good.
She was just like,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Very, very
All right.
chill.
All right, y'all. So we're out of here. Peace to everybody. See everybody Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, parting this week. This week was a little off.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you, sister. Everybody, thanks for showing up, joining us on the live. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks to the people who are downloading on Spotify and
Keep on downloading.
Keep downloading. We really appreciate it. See you guys Tuesday, 7:30 for the
Check out Ayaba. She's official. I'm telling you, I go check
Yes,
her
sir.
out.
Yes, sir. Hopefully we'll have her on again.
Yeah,
Thank you. Come
welcome.
see me in Union Square.
Peace.
Peace.
Ciao.